I invite you to listen to your breath. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest, a quiet rhythm, a silent drumbeat that marks your time in this world. But have you ever sat in stillness and wondered what happens when that rhythm ceases? What occurs in the sacred space between the last exhale and the first moment of what comes next? Within my tradition, we do not speak of this moment as an end. It is not a closing door, it is an opening. An ancient story from our lineage tells of a consciousness so attuned, it was able to witness the soul's journey in those first few breaths of its new freedom. What it found was not a void, but a universe of profound awakening. I want to share with you what this wisdom reveals. First, the river of your life returning to the ocean of its source. Second, the path you then choose, guided by the currents of your own heart. And third, the way this ancient truth illuminates the path you walk today. This is not theory. This is the inner landscape of your soul's journey home. The old wisdom teaches that the very first instant of separation from the physical body is not an experience of loss. It is a moment of profound remembrance. It is described as a great homecoming. Imagine living your entire life inside a small, sealed room, knowing the world only through a single keyhole. And then, in one silent, graceful instant, the walls dissolve. You do not just see the sun, you become one with its light. But this is just the beginning of this sacred passage. In these first seconds, your soul does not wander. It is drawn to a deep and immediate knowing. It meets what the ancients call the river of reflection. This is not a judgment. This is a moment of pure understanding, a tapestry woven from your time on earth, shown to you in an instant. And here the heart of the mystery unfolds. As your soul beholds this river of reflection, you do not simply watch your life as a series of events. You feel it. You become it. From the perspective of every single being you touched, every small act of kindness you offered, you now feel the warmth it planted in another's heart. Every harsh word spoken in haste, you now feel the fine crack it left in another's spirit. You feel the love you gave and the fear you held from both sides of the exchange. A story is told of a man of commerce whose life was one of sharp edges. In his moment of transition, his first experience was to feel his entire life through the hearts of his workers, his family, those he had helped, and those he had dismissed. He felt their quiet burdens and their hidden joys. This raises a fundamental question, one that shapes the entire landscape of what follows. What happens next is not determined by a power outside of yourself. It flows directly from the truth you have just witnessed. Here, your soul stands at a great confluence where two paths emerge from the ocean of awareness. This choice is made not by thought, but by the gravity of your own heart. This is what the teachings reveal happens next. Your soul, now intimately aware of its own patterns, its own music, chooses its next way of being. And this is the part many do not yet understand. Some souls, their love for those on earth a deep and powerful anchor, choose to remain close. They become guardians, silent gardeners, tending to the hearts they left behind. An old teaching speaks of a mother whose love for her children was a great banyan tree. Her first moments in the great light were spent seeing their path ahead, and she chose to remain as a great, unseen shade, to offer them comfort through their trials. Her journey onward could wait. Her love became her service. This changes our understanding of connection itself, and yet there is a deeper current. The clarity of this transition, the peace of this homecoming, is shaped directly by the garden you tended while you were here. The teachings are very clear. Souls who cultivated inner stillness through quiet reflection, through selfless acts, experience a seamless passage. It is described as a bird taking flight from a familiar branch, soaring into a boundless sky it has always known was there. But souls who lived only in the world of form, of possession, of noise, often meet this moment with a profound sense of dislocation, like waking from a dream in a land they do not recognize. There is a record of a soul who practiced silent sitting each day. The account of this transition says, "It was like light merging with light. The soul recognized its true nature and moved forward with the quiet confidence of one returning home. And this is where this ancient wisdom becomes a living tool for you. In this moment, we can prepare the soul for its great flight while we are still walking on the earth. The inner work you do today directly weaves the vessel that will carry you through that sacred passage. My tradition teaches that souls who regularly connected with the source of life, whether through contemplation or through acts of love, find immediate recognition and peace. They recognize the landscape. Those who served others from a pure heart find themselves carried on a wave of grace, surrounded by loving presence. But those who lived barricaded in fear or grasping at fleeting things find themselves in a state of mist, a period of deep questioning, until they remember the light within themselves. A story is told of a man who prepared his spirit for many years. When his time came, it was tracked by a seer. His crossing was so pure, so aware, that his soul was able to immediately send a feeling of profound peace back to his grieving family, a reassurance that all was well. Now, listen closely to this beautiful truth about your own soul in that moment. It is said that your essence, your memories, your unique way of being are not lost. They are clarified. They are retained, but now infused with a cosmic perspective and understanding of this why behind every journey, every joy, every sorrow. If this is so, it changes everything. If your soul carries forward the wholeness of who you are, and that first passage is shaped by the life you live now, then how are you preparing? An old text explains that the smoothest transitions belong to souls who had learned to hold the world with an open hand. They mastered what is called spiritual grace. This is not a turning away from life. It is the wisdom to love life, to feel it deeply, but to understand its nature is flow. It is to know you are the river, not the stones on the riverbed. This is how this wisdom becomes your daily practice. Every choice, every thought, every quiet moment of compassion is like placing a stone to build the foundation of your inner temple. This temple will be your first home in the world beyond form. A well-known story speaks of a man of science, a skeptic, who dismissed such teachings. Yet, after his own brief journey across the threshold and back, he sought a master. The wisdom keeper described the man's journey with details he had told no one. He said the man's soul had awakened into a brilliant light where all his scientific laws found their place within a much larger, more beautiful song. His years spent healing others had woven a pathway of light that illuminated his own transition. And there is something even more astonishing that happens to your consciousness in these first sacred seconds. You do not lose who you are. Instead, you gain a vast awareness while keeping everything that makes you you. A sacred text describes how one soul kept his humor, his deep love for his family, his passions, but now he understood how these threads were part of his soul's eternal tapestry. You do not become someone else. You become more of who you have always been, a seed that has finally broken through the soil to meet the sun. This understanding gives deep meaning to how you live today. Your kindness, your wisdom, your capacity for love. These are not temporary things. They are the eternal substance of your soul, which you are building now. The text consistently showed that souls who lived from the heart experienced those first moments as a joyful return, a recognition of their true home. Earth was a sacred school, a place of learning that prepared them for a grander service. This is why these accounts feel so true to the heart. Many who were guided by this wisdom in their lives later had experiences that mirrored these teachings perfectly. At the heart of our lineage are countless stories where these spiritual insights proved to be a true map. There is a moving account of a young mother facing a great illness. The teachings assured her that, because of her deep, selfless love for her children and her inner practice, her soul's journey would be one of grace. When she passed months later, her family said her last moments were not of fear, but of joyful recognition, as if she were seeing old, dear friends. She departed as the wisdom had foretold. And here is perhaps the most profound part of what this wisdom reveals. Your soul's journey is not for you alone. Ancient texts explain that souls who cross in a state of clear awareness immediately become part of a great work, helping to uplift all beings, both those on earth and those in other realms of light. This means the garden you tend today is not just for your own joy. It is to grow the fruits you will one day offer to others. The love you cultivate, the wisdom you uncover, this becomes the light you carry to serve others on their eternal path. My tradition teaches that souls who lived in service often choose to become guides. That grandmother who always knew the right thing to say. That friend who appeared at the exact moment you needed them. This may be the silent work of souls who chose to use their freedom to continue to love, to continue to serve. This insight raises a quiet question about your own life. If the veil is thin and souls can choose to help us, how might this change your understanding of the gentle guidance, the synchronicities you feel today? A master once explained how souls who have crossed over can create doorways of grace for their loved ones on earth. They cannot override our own will, but they can arrange circumstances, plant seeds of inspiration that support our own awakening. One story tells of a son whose departed father was a man of great spirit. After his father's passing, the son found himself guided by a series of quiet miracles, leading him to the very teachings that transformed his own life. The wisdom confirmed that his father's love was a lantern, lighting the path for his son to follow. So what does this mean for you, right here, right now? It means you are held in a field of loving support. Those flashes of inspiration, those sudden knowing moments, that perfect timing that feels like more than chance. These may be the whispers of souls who experienced their first seconds as an awakening to a new way of serving. But the greatest gift of this knowledge about dying is what it reveals about living. If that first sacred moment is shaped by your spiritual preparation now, then every day is a chance to sculpt a more beautiful passage. The teachings consistently say that souls with the most graceful transitions were those who learned to live with spiritual wonder. They met each day, knowing they were eternal spirit having a temporary human journey, and this filled their lives with an unshakable sense of purpose and peace. One text describes a soul who lived this way. Their passage was a gentle waking from a dream into a reality more vivid, more real. There was no confusion, only gratitude. This is the gift this wisdom offers you today. You do not need to wait for your last breath to touch this expanded awareness. The very practices that prepare the soul for a clear transition are the same practices that fill your present life with deeper meaning and joy. Regular stillness creates the channels of light that will one day guide your soul. Contemplative prayer deepens your connection to the source. Service to others builds the spiritual heartwood that supports you through any storm. But the most beautiful discovery is this: those first moments are not an ending. They are a commencement, a sacred ceremony where your soul celebrates all it has learned and looks with joy toward an even greater journey of becoming. A final story from my lineage perfectly illuminates this truth. A man who had followed these teachings for many years was nearing his time. His family asked the master what to expect. The guidance came. His soul's crossing will be like that of a student who has finished his lessons with high honors and is now excited to begin a greater learning. When the man passed peacefully weeks later, his final words were said to be of the beautiful light he was seeing and the loving guides who were waiting to welcome him. His experience was a perfect reflection of a soul who meets its transition not with fear, but with grace, preparation, and an open heart. This brings us to the only question that truly matters. Now that you have heard this ancient wisdom, how will you use it to live? Remember, every moment of kindness, every quiet prayer, every act of selfless love, every step you take towards inner understanding is preparing your soul for the most sacred passage you will ever make. You are not simply living for this day. You are building the vessel that will carry you home. If these words have opened a window in your heart, I invite you to share this stillness with another who is seeking. May this wisdom find its way to more hearts, who are asking these great questions about life and what lies beyond. The soul's greatest journey is always ahead, and now you know how to prepare for it. The first few seconds after your final breath can be the most beautiful moments of your entire existence. And it all begins with the choice you make in your heart right now.